Romanticism is a cultural movement which goes from 1850 to the beginning of the 20th century. The Romantic era is a reaction to the Enlightenment. In fact, in this period, there's a strong rejection of reason and a particular interest in people's emotions and feelings. In these years, we have the rise of the novel with Frankenstein and Pride and Prejudice. The first one is by Mary Shelley, and it's considered a Gothic novel because of the gloomy atmosphere. The second one is written by Jane Austen, and it's a comedy of manners. This kind of novels were particularly appreciated by the middle class. In fact, they became very popular. Now we will analyze how Romanticism spread all over the world with different characteristics.
Paris, 1762. The French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau wrote a book about raising of children entitled Emile. The book was about the oppression of the world of adult, nature, goodness, freedom, and also tells the life story of a fictional man named Emile. In this book, Rousseau traced the cause of Emile's development and education. In fact, Emile was grown up with a tutor who educated him as an idealized natural man, incorrupted by modern society.
London, 1770. A young poet called Thomas Chatterton killed himself because no one could understand his art. He is considered a romantic hero, a sensitive, doomed person who is rejected by the world. The romantic hero is borrowed from Christianity. In fact, is a secularized Christ figure, a loser who is in truth deeply noble. This painting is an oil on canvas, and it was painted by Henry Wallis in 1856. It's called The Death of Chatterton. In fact, it represents our hero, lying on a bed in a tiny attic apartment, where he has just put end at his life, taking some arsenic. The painting is linked to the pre-Raphaelite movement. We can see it from the presence of chiaroscuro. The painting became very popular during the Victorian Age.
Germany, 1774. Goethe in 1774 wrote The Sorrow of Young Werther, where he sympathized with the main character, which seems to be a sort of alter ego of the poet. Werther perfectly embodies the figure of the romantic hero who commits suicide because of his own ideals, in this case, an impossible love. Goethe's work had an enormous success. That's the reason why he could print over 3 million copies, changing people's view of love.
Spain, 1798. The artist Francisco Goya produces one of his most popular pieces of art, titled The Sleep of Reason Brings Out Monsters. It captures the idea of Romanticism about the limits of reason and the power of irrational of human minds. The Romantics usually sympathized with madness and vengeful attitude, which were represented by the nocturnal animals in the engraving.
England, 1799. In England, we have a young English poet called William Wordsworth, who moved with his sister Dorothy in one of the most important plays of the whole English Romanticism, The Dove Cottage. Here he spent over 9 years of his life writing poems about nature and demonizing industrialization and technologies, siding with a simple life. The whole Europe was enchanted by his works, which brought in the Lake District a lot of tourism.
Niagara, United States, 1828. The American artist called Thomas Cole painted one of his most powerful images, the distant view of Niagara Falls. In the foreground we can see a couple of Native Americans who are surrounded by a sublime scene where man is lost and puny in front of the dignified and impressive nature. To be a romantic is considered by Cole a relief from the pressure of competitive city life. Cole wanted to deplorate nature by the industrialization's effects. In fact, he wanted to represent it as a wild nature. So then he decided to sketch outdoors to be surrounded by a sublime scene.
In 1840, Augustus Pugin built one of the symbols of the Romantic and Gothic architecture, the British Parliament in Westminster. This abbey was rebuilt after the destruction of the old St. Felix Cathedral burned in a fire in 1834. The new cathedral looks very old, medieval in fact. That's why we can find a lot of symbols which remind us to the Gothic and Romantic literature as armors and strange sculptures.
Saint-Germain, Paris, 1863. The poet Charles Baudelaire writes a prose poem in which he talks about an unusual character whom he calls a flaneur. This man is a stroller, a loafer, a man with no job who likes to observe the busy street life. He also likes to create narratives for other people's lives. Baudelaire admires him from his lack of practicality and playfulness.
France, 1791. Gauguin is one of the most famous French painters ever. He went to Tahiti because he wanted to escape from everything that could be artificial and conventional. Civilization it was made us sick was his motto, and that's the reason why he went to Tahiti to paint side by side with nature, representing exotic places and the human presence into the wild, even preferring subjects as native Tahitian women, as we can see into the paintings. In conclusion, we can say that the Romantic movement permanently changed our sensibility and our way to see what's around us.